Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 224.
On Now You Know. We're brought to you by our amazing Patreon patrons. If you want to join our community, then head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow and be a part of creating independent news every week.
And we're sponsored by BigBattery.com, with the best battery prices in the USA guaranteed. If you've got something you need to power, from homes to cars, RVs to boats, and much more, BigBattery.com has you covered, offering the newest in battery tech. Use the code NOWYOUKNOW to save 5% off your purchase today at BigBattery.com. We're sponsored by our friends at Lesser Evil. What are you munching on over there?
Himalayan popcorn.
What's the rule?
No hogging the popcorn.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. They're all available at their website at lesserevil.com.
And we're sponsored by ecoware.us, where we've got free shipping. And I love this design, by the way.
I know.
That's so cool.
Classic.
Now, I don't think there's time before Christmas probably to get your order in. But you know what? You're not going to see anyone for Christmas anyway. So
right, you just say, "Oh, I can't make it the week after Christmas. How about we'll meet in a parking lot, in a couple weeks."
Yeah.
And just, presents get delayed.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, your present was delayed.
Or just have it sent to them.
Because I know that there's people you forgot about.
Exactly.
So you may,
Now's the time to catch up.
Yeah.
And what's cool about EcoWare is that it's carbon negative, because not only do we plant a tree, but we help cap a well.
For every order.
Okay, so according to Electrek, several new owners of new Model 3 vehicles are reporting that the new 2020.48.12 update is showing them a range update. Tesla release notes say, your Model 3 will now display a slightly higher range to more accurately reflect the capacity of the battery pack. So does this mean that I can drive further than I could last week?
So going along with the wording here, no. Basically, you can drive just as far as before the update. It's just that before it would say, like, I'm going to run out of range, but it actually would have had maybe a little bit more. It's confusing. I think it's basically just like a little BMS update of like, okay, when the batteries say they're here, it actually means this range.
Battery management system.
Yeah, BMS.
And in a related story, Tesla has issued a memo to sales staff, according to Electrek, that says, we are transitioning Model 3 and Model Y to a new headlight design, which is eventually going to be consistent across all variants globally. By Q1 2021, we expect all Model 3 and Model Y vehicles to feature this new unit. And so here's a picture with the new headlights on the left, the old headlights on the right. So a much brighter headlight.
Yeah, brighter and wider. Kind of exactly what you want.
Remember with the IIHS ratings, they got kind of low ratings before when the headlights didn't really meet the higher standards.
And actually, they had increased these standards recently because they were looking at it scientifically, and most cars didn't do that well in terms of lighting. So it's nice to see that Tesla's updating their designs and making them better.
So this tweet from Tasmanian says that there's a rumor. Tesla GigaBerlin will soon receive Model Y prototypes with new 4680 tablet cells and structural architecture. Is this true?
Well, Elon said GigaBerlin Brandenburg will be the first to use our new structural pack architecture, 4680s, world's most advanced cells made on site. Both front and rear body castings and advanced paint shop. Warning, with so much new technology, production timing is naturally harder to predict.
So then Tesla Facts asked, does this mean that you are more confident about 4680 yields today than on battery day?
Elon said perhaps slightly more confident, but it's essential to view this as output versus time. As with all manufacturing, especially new technology, output will follow an S-curve. Very slow at first, but increasing exponentially, then linear, then logarithmic.
Well, this is exciting. I mean, he's basically confirming what we already thought, which is that GigaBerlin is going to have the most advanced technology. And just to get an update on what's going on in Berlin, our friends Andreas and Robert from the Wolfpack Berlin YouTube channel, as always, with beautiful aerial video of GigaBerlin, look how far GigaBerlin has come. It's a building.
And remember that the plans are to have Model Ys rolling out of the factory in the first half of 2021.
I mean, I would have said I don't believe it, but I mean, it's looking like a factory.
Yeah.
And the good news here is that Tesla has received site and area development plan approvals by the local council. And Elon said,
thank you, Brandenburg and Grunhind.
In related news, though, Tesla has had to stop building at GigaBerlin because it didn't pay a $100 million deposit to destroy the factory.
What? destroy the what?
I knew I'd catch you on that. Well, Tesla is building without final permits. We knew that, right? So Tesla was required to put $100 million into an escrow account by December 17th in case the building isn't allowed and it has to be demolished. Well, Tesla failed to put that money in, and so the deadline has been moved to January 4th to make this payment, but according to Germany's Zeit, Tesla cannot continue installing machines in the paint shop or clear any more forest until the payment is made.
So because they're building without permits, which seems kind of dumb, they have to put $100 million into escrow in order to kind of as a little undo button. And so Tesla just forgot to do this?
Yeah, I don't think it was on someone's to-do list like, don't forget to bring in donuts to the crew on Monday. Also, Sheila's birthday, so don't forget her cake. Oh, and don't forget the $100 million deposit. No, I think that Tesla must be fighting this. They must be saying, look, we're happy to put up some kind of bond. We're happy to sign some kind of contract, but $100 million. Now, you might be saying, Tesla's worth billions. Who cares? $100 million is still a lot of money to put aside into an account for God knows how long. I bet behind the scenes, Tesla is fighting them on this and saying, look, we'll agree to take down the factory if we have to, but we're not going to give you $100 million.
And I mean, it kind of creates an incentive for Germany to repeal the permits because it's like, oh, well, all the money's in escrow to get rid of this factory and you already, paid us all this money. So,
I mean, even if a permit doesn't get issued because something needs to be changed, it doesn't mean you blow up a whole factory. You know what I mean?
This is the such worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Tesla's going to fail some permit and they're going to be like, well, tear it all down, everybody. There's processes to alleviating these issues if there were any to begin with. So, okay, I get that Tesla would be fighting it. Do you think that they're going to be hashing it out over Christmas to discuss whether or not they're going to have to put in this $100 million?
I'm guessing there's some kind of negotiation going on. I don't think it's as simple as we forgot. Now, we reported recently that the head of Volkswagen, Herbert Diess, was asking VW's board of directors for a vote of confidence in his bold plans to electrify VW.
Well, last week, VW's board did just that. In a unanimous vote, the supervisory board said the board unanimously resolved to give its full support to the strategy, in particular, the orientation of the company towards electromobility and digitalization.
I did not see this coming. I really kind of thought that VW's old school board was going to dig in their heels and be like, we're not going in that direction.
Well, we heard that they had very long meetings. Like we were talking, I think it was, hours and hours long meetings. I think that in that amount of time, if you are, on the board of a car company and you have someone who actually knows what they're talking about, Herbert Diess, that you will be convinced that it is inevitable that, sitting down in a boardroom with someone basically banging you over the head with evidence of like, Tesla is going to eat our lunch if we don't do something now. Mm-hmm. And we're actually behind. And I've been saying this or, whatever you're going to be telling them. You'd have to bring up a lot of evidence, right? Because they're going to go, well, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And if you have to keep fighting it, you keep fighting it. I think that there's a reason that this wasn't a, 1 hour long presentation or something like that. It took a lot of work to actually convince these people to go in this direction.
Yeah, I mean, it was multiple meetings, and I guess he convinced them, which is good news for VW, because if he hadn't, that would have definitely been the last nail in the coffin. Now, will they be able to succeed? I don't know. It basically shows that VW is now in the race. They're headed in the right direction. They're starting to turn the ship around from hitting the iceberg. Question is, will they be able to catch up to Tesla? But the good news for VW is at least they know who they're trying to catch.
But just because you have the supervisory board on board doesn't mean that you have the rest of your company. Greenpeace sent secret shoppers to buy a car at German VW dealerships to see if they would recommend the ID3 electric car. Guess what they found?
I don't know.
Out of the 50 secret shopping visits, only 8 dealers recommended the ID3. When secret shoppers asked questions about charging, like will it overload the power grid, etc., 48% of the time, the dealers answered the question wrong. And in fact, several dealers gave myths about EVs to discourage shoppers from buying them.
That is a problem that we see everywhere with dealers. They just do not want to sell you an electric car, or they just don't know anything about it.
And in fact, dealers have an incentive to not sell you an electric car because electric cars need less maintenance. Where are you going to do the maintenance? At the dealer. They want you to buy the gas car that you're going to have to take back in and be like, oh, something's wrong. And they're like, oh, there is a lot wrong. Let me tell you about it. All the things that are wrong. It's going to be about $4,000 and it'll take 3 weeks. And you're just like, oh, no. They want to sell you the gas car.
Yeah.
And that is the uphill battle that VW faces. Whereas Tesla, you walk into any Tesla showroom and no one's going to be trying to convince you to buy a gas car. No one in the entire store. They all want you to buy the electric Tesla because that's the only ones that there are.
That would be funny if we sent in secret shoppers to Tesla showrooms found out that they're like, no, you know what? You should go for GM.
That'd be a funny thing. Greenpeace should do the exact same thing. Let's keep it fair. Send it to the Tesla showrooms and see what you get.
Yeah. And, speaking of Germany, sales of battery electric vehicles in Germany made up almost 10% of the market in November. Take a look at this chart of market share from 2014 through November of 2020. See that line there? Does that look a little S-curvy to you?
Yeah, looks a little the more exciting part of the S-curve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's what's also interesting. 6 out of the 10 best-selling EVs in Germany are not even available in the U.S. Take a look at this list here. And you can only get the Kona, the 4.2, the Model 3, and the i3 here in the U.S.
You can still get the e-Golf.
No, essentially VW has stopped making it. So, there's only scattered inventory left over. Now, interesting to me is the last car on the list there, which is the Mazda MX-30, which I don't think we've reported on much here on the show. I didn't even know it was out yet. Apparently, it's out in Germany. This is a car that's pretty well priced. It costs about £25,000 in the UK, about €32,000 in Germany. It has a small battery, 35 kilowatt hours, 141 horsepower, has a range of 200 kilometers or 124 miles with WLTP. So that means probably more like 100. Yeah, it's like Leaf range.
It's like e-Golf range.
But,
okay.
It's
good. A compliance EV.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's really interesting. It shows you that when you have more choices, and some of those choices aren't even that great, to be honest. The e-Golf was fine, but it is a compliance EV.
Yeah, but they've got the VW ID3 on the list now.
That's true.
The only reason I think that this information isn't that accurate is that Tesla sends shiploads of cars over to Europe and they arrive in a lumpy fashion. So if it's a month that not many Model 3s arrive, then you're going to see lower sales. Whereas, in a month where more ships arrive, like for instance, October, Tesla was the number 1 selling car.
Right. And once they have the factory up and running, it's gonna
all
be
bets are off,
pretty, we'll see.
If you'd like to share this clip with someone that you know, but you don't want to share the whole episode that you're watching now, you can head over to the Now You Know Clips channel where we've chopped this into a nice bite-sized clip that you can share. So last week, the Las Vegas City Council voted unanimously
to allow tigers in hotel rooms.
No, I didn't hear that. It's not that exciting. It's a little more boring than that.
Oh, okay. Is it to make Ocean's 11 the official movie of Las Vegas?
No, it's according to Bloomberg, they voted unanimously to advance plans to dramatically expand Musk's Loop project from a convention center transit system to a citywide network that would include hotels and one day, potentially, even the airport.
Wow. So how much is this going to cost Las Vegas?
$0.
What? How is it free?
Well, Boring Company President Steve Davis said that no public money is going to be used to finance the project. The Boring Company will cover the cost of the main tunnels, and the casinos are going to pay for the stations and the side tunnels that lead off from the main tunnels.
Oh, this is smart.
Brilliant.
This is very, very, very smart.
Yes.
So basically up and down the strip. Lucky that it's just a straight line for the Boring Company. They're just going to dig a tunnel. And then Boring Company goes to the casinos and they go, Mr. Bellagio,
how you doing, Mr. Musk?
Would you like a station at your casino?
Of course we would. How much is that going to cost?
That's going to cost you a lot of money.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. We can go to Caesar's Palace. And
No. Come back. It's all right. I'll cop you some rooms or something.
I'm sorry. It's more now.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. Well, you should have said yes when we first came to you.
You guys are good negotiators.
Yeah, that's really smart because essentially you're going to have the only game in town for the fastest.
No pun intended.
for the fastest transportation mode in the city.
Yeah, imagine you land at the airport. You want to get to your convention center fast, and 10 minutes you're there.
Why would you take an Uber?
Exactly.
Would you want to wait
to
get to the casino?
Yeah. And I mean, imagine how many other cities are going to want to repeat this and say, like, I want a free tunnel system too.
Right. And especially from the airport.
And then Boring Company is going to own it.
Yeah, I mean, if they can repeat this, because essentially Las Vegas, this is an easy deal for them. They go, oh, we don't have to spend any money for infrastructure? That sounds like a win-win in our book. But for the Boring Company, they're going to own the whole thing.
Exactly.
That's really smart. So they could do this again in some other city because
why not?
I think most cities are going to go, oh, we don't have to front any money for a essentially super subway.
Well, if you're a politician in, let's say, LA, and you can be like, I have a solution to the traffic problem, elect me.
All I have to do is say yes.
And it's free.
I think that that's really smart of the Boring Company. There's no like downside really for Las Vegas.
I mean, we have a video out showing that Boring Company could be worth more than Tesla. You can check it out here. This is just another reason why. So NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and the IIHS, which is the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, they set standards back in 2016, and they made deals with different car manufacturers to have automatic emergency braking, or AEB, in all cars in the US by 2022. So guess the first auto manufacturer to have AEB in all their cars.
Safe. Saab.
It's a good guess, but
Volvo.
Survey says, oh, so close. Number 2.
Wait, so then who's number 1?
Tesla.
How many Teslas have AEB?
100%. In fact, they had it first, and they all had it as soon as they came up with the standard.
And I mean, it's a standard feature. If you buy a Tesla today,
you got AEB.
Comes with AEB. You don't have to pay more for it.
Nope. But there are some manufacturers who haven't gotten all their cars on the list. So take a look at this. GM, Mitsubishi, FCA, Jaguar, Land Rover. I mean, what are they waiting for?
I guess waiting to get rear-ended. So by the year 2022, all cars are going to have automatic emergency braking. And I mean, it exists now. It's not like we're talking about it needs to have, laser deflection technology.
And all auto manufacturers have it on some of their cars at least. So, I mean, they know how to do it.
Right. So then why isn't it on all of the cars, since that's like a feature that everyone would want to have?
I think it's because Tesla takes it seriously and immediately was like, safety, let's get it in the cars immediately. Whereas the other manufacturers like, that's going to cost money, Can we just wait till 2022?
But I mean, how much are we talking?
I don't know, but obviously this shows where their brains are at. Wow. They're not putting safety first.
And now you might be saying like, well, I've never needed AEB. And that's probably because you haven't been in an accident yet. But 1/3 of all police reported crashes involved rear ending. So basically 1/3 of most accidents that are serious involved rear ending. Automatic emergency braking can reduce rear ending by 30 to 40%. According to many different studies,
wow.
It's a range 30 to 40%. Not like meaning completely stops the car before it smashes into the other car. And in more cases than that, it slows down the car a significant amount, meaning that the damage is way less and it's much safer to have that accident.
Wow. So, I mean, more than 10% of the accidents could be kept from happening with AEB. No wonder IIHS and NHTSA wanted this.
And now you might be saying, so if it makes so much sense, why haven't the car manufacturers do it? Well, who's footing the bill for when there's a rear-ending accident? It's the person who rear-ended. So it's just that person's fault, and they have to deal with it. They can't go back to the manufacturer and be like, why didn't you put AEB in my car? They went, because you didn't buy it with that. You should have paid more for the AEB package.
Yeah, and by the way, if you drive a Tesla, make sure that you have it turned on.
Yeah, and it has early detection, so it'll actually warn you before you even need to slam on your brakes. You could just be like, oh, I need to calmly slow down.
But make sure you set it to early.
Yeah, I keep it on early all the time. Sometimes it beeps at me, and I just go, thanks for letting me know, Tesla. I was already driving safely. It's good to have that extra layer of security.
All right, Jesse, quiz time.
Okay.
Get pencils ready.
Okay.
What do you think this is a picture of?
It's a bunch of cars getting ready for a snowstorm? What is it?
Those are Model Ys that have just rolled out of Giga Shanghai last week. YouTuber Woowa was flying his drone over Giga Shanghai, which he does almost every week, and he spotted them coming out of the factory. He said, this week we saw 40 Model Ys wrapped in protective covers in the parking lot inside the Shanghai plant, and another 4 Model Ys had just joined them as workers prepared to cover the vehicles with protective covers.
So this means that Model Ys are rolling off the factory floor in Shanghai.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if these are for sale or if these are just like proving vehicles to test them in certain ways or for crash tests or whatever. But yeah, that means the machines are up and running.
I mean, they made Model Ys.
Yeah.
Which means that they can start selling Model Ys in China that they made in China.
I mean, we were planning on them selling them in Q1, but it's the quarter before, and they're already ready to go.
So, I mean, it looks like we're on track for Q1
Yeah.
sales of made in China Model Ys in China. And just to remind everyone, China is a very, very, very big market, and I think that the Model Y is going to do very well there.
So according to Electrek, Tesla owners in South Korea have reported getting an email from Tesla. It says, in the first half of 2021, Tesla Korea will officially launch the CCS-1 charging adapter.
So wait, what is this?
All right, so you know how at charging stations there's the CCS standard?
Yes.
CCS-1 here in the US and in South Korea, CCS-2 in Europe.
Yes.
All right, so you can't plug a CCS into a Tesla right now unless it's a European one. You need this adapter.
Right. So why is South Korea?
South Korea has a similar charging infrastructure as the US has. They have CCS-1.
Okay. And so they're getting these adapters. Why don't we get the adapters in the United States and Canada?
Good question. My guess is if South Korea is getting them, that we're going to get them as well.
So this is what they look like, but how much do they cost?
Didn't say. I mean, I know that the European versions cost about 500 euros, so that's probably the price range we're talking about. Although my question is, why are they so expensive? I mean, don't these just connect some wires together?
I don't know.
I would hope that Tesla sells them for less because, why try and make money off these things? If it is as simple as I think it is, which is basically just a big glob of plastic with some metal connectors inside, but maybe it's not as simple as I think.
Yeah, I mean, there might be a computer in there doing communication-y stuff that I have no idea about. But I mean, this could be huge. If they start selling these in the United States and Canada, this opens up whole other charging networks for Tesla drivers, which, I would say on the whole isn't going to make much of a difference, but charging is a very, very specific activity. It's like, oh, that charger's here. Because when you're charging, you want it to be right where you are.
Right.
You do not want to be like, oh, don't worry, there's a charger in Cincinnati. It's like, no. I either I'm traveling through Cincinnati, so it doesn't matter. I'll just plug in there and keep driving. Or it's like, no, I need a charger that's like by where I am. So that way I can charge up and then do stuff. And so by having this adapter, it means that you have opened up, you've unlocked a ton of new chargers everywhere in the world for Teslas. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Bad news, I would say, for everyone who doesn't drive a Tesla, because Teslas pretty much outnumber all the other electric cars in the United States and have way bigger ranges, so they're going to be sitting there for longer, and have way bigger ranges, so they're going to be, I can get to that charger. Whereas in my Leaf, I'm like, I don't know if I can make it to that charger. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a bloodbath. I'm telling you, they're going to be used more, which means they're going to break more. This is going to be a real test. I'm talking way ahead of ourselves because it's only South Korea so far. So
get ready, America.
Brace yourselves
for the CCS onslaught.
It's going to be like, well, I am still charging my Tesla here. It's only 50 kilowatts. Do you know how many batteries are in my car?
That's a good point because Tesla owners can sit there and just play video games all day and, watch movies.
There's no rush.
I got 3 more episodes of Queen's Gambit.
In an announcement last week, the Cybertruck has been delayed.
What did you just say? The Cybertruck's been delayed? They're supposed to have it come out next year.
Yeah, that's right.
You just said it's delayed. Which is it?
I'm sorry. The Mattel Hot Wheels remote-controlled toy Cybertruck has been delayed until May.
Okay. All right.
Not the big boy Cybertruck, the
toy.
The boy-sized Cybertruck.
Right. There's 2 versions of that, right?
Yes, there is the 1/64th scale, very small Cybertruck for $20, and the 1/10 scale limited edition for $400 that were supposed to come out this year. Unfortunately, it seems like Santa's elves had a little trouble producing the Cybertruck small scale.
They're all busy making the Giga Austin factory. So. And speaking of Cybertruck, Tesla Time News is sponsored by Cybertruck Owners Club. There you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line.
Check out their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners.
And check out their 3D configurator, allowing you to visualize the Cybertruck in any color, wrap, and logo, both on screen and in augmented reality. And check out what our friend Simon did on the configurator.
Wow, look at those. Those are cool looking wraps.
Yeah, he took his own abstract photographs and he wrapped them onto the Cybertruck.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so head over to the Cybertruck Owners Club right now and you can do it yourself. All right, so President-elect Joe Biden has tapped Jennifer Granholm, the former governor of Michigan, to head the energy department. Granholm appears to be a big EV advocate. She sits on the board of Proterra, the electric bus company.
Now, the Energy Department has a $27 billion budget, 75% of which historically goes to nuclear research.
Ooh, I hope they shift that under her to more electric and renewables.
Yeah. Now, I'm a little bit worried about her Michigan roots. Michigan, of course, not being the most friendly state to Tesla. You gotta wonder why.
I hear you, except there's some good news here. She was born in Canada, and her paternal grandfather was the mayor of Robertsfors, Sweden, before they emigrated to Canada in the 1930s, which goes back to what we talk about a lot on the show, which is that if you have family who are into government, then that usually means your kids or your grandkids kind of get into government. So important to get involved in government. But that's not all. For the Environmental Protection Agency, Biden has picked Michael Regan, former secretary of the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. For the chair of the Council on Environmental Quality, he appointed Brenda Mallory. And for Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland. Now, the Natural Resources Defense Council is calling them an A-team of climate and environmental champions. And also Biden picked John Kerry as climate czar, with Biden's pledge to rejoin the Paris Agreement on day one of his presidency. So finally, we get to replace Andrew Wheeler and we get to rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get whiplash from going from Andrew Wheeler of just like,
Let's pollute everything. I know how to protect the environment with money.
and then we go back onto the climate agreement. I'm like, wow, holy wow. Where have we been for 4 years?
All right, so Canoo, the California startup that is SPACing right now, they announced last week a new multi-purpose delivery electric vehicle, or MPDV, which is made for last-mile deliveries and commercial customers. That is going to be due out in 2022.
So that is not what Canoo is about.
No, I mean, they were about first of all, a car that you couldn't buy. It was going to be a ride-sharing car that was going to come out in 2023.
And you'd subscribe, it would be a subscription service.
Driverless, autonomous.
And you'd get picked up in an autonomous car and you get driven wherever.
So the new executive chairman of Canoo, Tony Aquila, says that his new vehicle shows that Canoo's immediate focus has changed. He said, the way that I would look at it is that this is a refounding of the company, just like Elon Musk did to Tesla.
This is such a change. I mean,
it's a big change. I mean, don't forget the company's going through a merger right now. In fact, there's so much to unpack here. I think we should talk about this on the Now You Know Investor Club. So we're going to record a story about this right now, and you'll be able to see that on the Investor Club over on Patreon. So if you don't know what that is, head on over to Patreon, and you can join us at the $10 level on our Investor Club, where this is the kind of stuff we talk about.
The Investor Club running stories.
Well, that was a little bit longer than I thought it would take.
Yeah, but I think, hopefully it gave some good information to people.
Yeah.
All right, so when you're considering buying an EV from a company, Jesse, what is one of your biggest concerns?
Are they going to be able to service my vehicle?
Yeah. Lordstown Motors, makers of the Endurance pickup truck, made a move last week to solve this problem by announcing a partnership with Camping World, which has 170 service and collision centers across the U.S.
That's a pretty smart move.
Yeah, don't you think? Also announced is that the two companies will work together on new EVs for the RV marketplace based on the Endurance platform.
Oh, that's a very smart move.
Yeah, the CEO of Camping World, Marcus Lemonis, said they want to start by electrifying trailers and fifth-wheel campers with a target for them hitting the road next year.
So here's an interesting fact. 90% of the RV industry is towable.
Wait, what does that mean?
That means that of the RVs sold, 90% of them are towed by something else.
Oh, don't drive themselves. Because I think of RVs as being all Winnebagos, but you're saying most of them are actually just towed by a car or pickup truck.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So electrifying these with batteries would have a huge effect on the market, because normally you have to have a propane tank and you got to somehow, there's like some 12-volt battery somewhere that's in charge of, doing some of the lights, but then, you have to charge that. It's complicated.
Or you have to bring a generator with you.
Exactly. So being able to have a really big battery like in the Endurance and then being able to tow something means that that's a pretty great solution.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine, clean, quiet power, maybe even solar on the roof or something to recharge instead of like a noisy, smelly generator. Lamona said, we can sell more than Lordstown can make.
And Camping World plans to install chargers at all of their locations.
That's pretty interesting. You can invest in both Lordstown and in Camping World. All right, thanks to our buddy Kyle Connor from Out of Spec Motoring and the Electric Performance Channel, who got to test drive the Ford Mach-E. Now, we couldn't show you that last week because the timing on the embargo didn't work out, but now we can.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, it's Kyle. I'm driving the Mustang Mach-E, and we are in Michigan. And, this is earlier than your viewers would be seeing this video, but we can't post the videos immediately, so you'll be seeing this a little after the fact. And check it out. This is the Mustang Mach-E that we're driving right here. The current car that we're in is the extended range all-wheel drive. It's 270-mile EPA certified range. The rear-wheel drive configuration with this battery pack is 300 miles EPA, 99 kilowatt-hour installed capacity, 88 kilowatt-hour usable. So a real big buffer in the battery pack there. Not sure how I feel about that, but Ford has over-the-air updates to this vehicle to every module, much like we're similar to Tesla, like we're used to, and that means maybe we'll have a little bit of battery capacity increase as the cars hit the fleets and they become more comfortable with them. Everything Ford has done here is sort of been like, under promise and over deliver. They've really shown great driving dynamics today. This is the first day we're able to share how it feels. I'm sitting on Copilot 360, so this whole drive, the car's actually been doing everything. Similar to an autopilot system like we would be used to. This is not going to be full self-driving. It's not pushing the boundaries of technology, but you can look here on the screen and you can see this bubble around the car, and that's saying that, hey, it's actually taking care of everything. Now, right now, this system is not hands-free, but through an over-the-air software update, if you have the prep package, you got to order the car with this package. It comes on all mid and high spec Mustang Mach-E's. You get this little infrared sensor here, and it does eye tracking, and this will come out middle 2021. Other features of the car, you have the screen here, routes you through all the fast chargers. It also includes real-time charging status, which is great, so you know if the charger works when you arrive there, and it will tell you how long you need to charge at each stop to make it to your destination. So I'm very pleased with that. It's something a lot of automakers get wrong, and Ford has spent a lot of time making sure this car is easy to get around in. Hey, Zach and Jesse, I wanted to show you the outside of the car now after driving it really quickly. Take a look, here it is, the Grabber Blue Mustang Mach-E. This one, of course, is the first edition car. So I love this blue paint, really nice. You can see the clear taillights around the back. Mustang badge, of course. And we're doing a DC charging test right now for our inside EVs. And this is where we go 0 to 100% state of charge and map the charging curve of the vehicle. And so far, it's actually a little unimpressive on the curve. Initially it charges at 150, 160 kilowatt we saw, and then it sits at 100. But the nice thing is it seems to be holding 100 kilowatt pretty deep, at least, into the pack so far. So it's not really that bad, not the end of the world here. I gotta say, I'm impressed on first glance. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, and I can't wait for you guys to experience the car yourself.
Thanks, Kyle. You can see the whole video on our Now You Know Clips channel.
So lucky he gets to ride around in the Mach-E.
I know.
So GreenPower Motors in Canada, in collaboration with Peroni Robotics, has released the AV Star, which they claim is the first of its kind purpose-built, fully autonomous passenger shuttle that is NHTSA compliant and Altoona tested. So this is a battery electric vehicle with a range of up to 150 miles.
What's Altoona tested?
Oh, so Penn State's Altoona Bus Research and Testing Center is where a lot of buses go to get tested. This first AV Star has been delivered to Jacksonville Transit Authority in Florida just this month to be used for their ultimate urban circulator. GreenPower Motors will begin a demo tour in March to show off this technology to other municipalities.
And so, I mean, we're talking about autonomous electric vehicles.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
We said it was going to happen.
In front of our own
and now
very eyes.
It's not just Tesla. It's happening. Mm-hmm. So according to Teslarati, Tesla has shipped 10,000 cars to Australia since 2014.
New data from The Driven shows that Tesla has outsold all its competitors combined by 2 to 1.
And 30% of that number, or nearly 3,000, were shipped just this year in 2020.
And in other Australian news, the New South Wales government is aiming to replace its entire 8,000 bus fleet with electric buses by 2030.
Yeah, they're going to have 50 new electric buses that will hit Sydney streets in Q1 of next year. Transport Minister Andrew Constant said, "I think it's really important that we stop the fights, stop the arguments, stop trying to tell each other that climate change is real or not real. It's real, and it's man-made." So the Wall Street Journal just reported that Akio Toyoda, the CEO of Toyota, remember he's the grandson of the founder, he said Japan would run out of electricity in the summer if all cars were running on electric power. He then went on to say, He estimated infrastructure needed to support a 100% EV fleet would cost Japan between $135 billion to $358 billion. And most of the country's electricity is generated by burning coal and natural gas anyway, so it's not necessarily helping the environment. The more EVs we build, the worse carbon dioxide gets. When politicians are out there saying, let's get rid of all the cars using gasoline, do they understand this? The current business model of the car industry is going to collapse.
So there you have the CEO of a pretty much exclusively gas-burning car company lying to you and everyone who would listen to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically saying this because the Japanese government announced that they're planning to ban all gas cars by 2035, and I think he's basically saying no.
And Toyota doesn't have any fully electric cars. So they're kind of in trouble because essentially they have a 15-year deadline on when they are not going to be able to sell cars in their very own home country.
How do you think people who bought all those Priuses feel right now? Who are like, we're doing this to help the environment. So you're basically supporting a company that didn't really believe in the environment at all. They just wanted to sell you a car.
Well, but you heard him. It's all those coal factories that I guess they're going to have to build more coal factories with the billions of dollars that he estimates. So, I mean, all of this stuff is untrue. Let's just make that completely clear. If you were to simply not refine gasoline, you'd end up saving quite a bit of energy as well.
Exactly. What he didn't talk about was that when you switch to electric cars, you need a lot less energy because the whole gasoline engine is inefficient. The whole making of the gasoline is inefficient. The whole drilling of it is inefficient. So there's so much energy savings just in the switch alone that he's not factoring in.
And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take 15 years. And what we can be doing in that time is transitioning to renewable energy, the cheapest form of energy generation on Earth is renewable. Solar and wind are the two cheapest forms of energy generation.
Yep.
That's better than hamsters, people. And so what that means is that over the span of time, because time does pass, we will switch our grids to more clean and renewable sources. And as we do that, we will be switching to EVs, which will themselves be getting more clean. Because as you make the grid cleaner, you're making those cars cleaner.
Toyota's not making the switch. So the question is Toyota going to be around?
And another fact that he left out in his little rant there was that the more gas cars you make, the more carbon dioxide you make. So kind of a dumb aspect of the argument, even if you were to say, well, I guess coal is the only way you can make electricity.
And that's the difference between a car company that you build from the ground up and a car company that was handed to you by your grandfather. So Audio Weaver is the sound platform in Teslas, and it's developed by a company called DSP Concepts.
DSP just announced that they are collaborating with Bose to bring Bose's quiet comfort road noise control to their platform.
Wait, so does this mean that Teslas could be getting quieter?
It could be.
Wait, so this is where basically kind of like a noise-canceling headphone, you have a microphone in the car, you hear the sound that's being made, you make the opposite waves,
right,
and then it gets quieter.
Yes.
And if I'm reading this correctly, first of all, there's already a microphone in the car because you can talk to the car.
Well, yes.
So with just a software update, let me just conjecture time.
So.
Conjecture time.
Could this be in the Christmas update?
How weird would that be? You go out to your car and it's just like,
It's really quiet.
really, is it quiet in here? Or is it just me? That would be wild. I don't think that they're going to have that. I think that you might need to add a special little chip in there because you got to do some audio processing really quickly.
They've already got the hardware and software, don't they?
They not noise canceling hardware.
Okay.
I mean, they have speakers and a microphone. That doesn't mean that you can record an album in the car.
Beck did it with 2 turntables and a microphone.
That's not true.
So here's an auto company that doesn't come up much on the show. Subaru.
And that's because they don't have any electric cars.
Not so fast. Subaru Europe today confirmed the company is preparing for the launch of a full electric vehicle. Scheduled for introduction in the first half of 2020s, Subaru's all-electric vehicle will be a mid-sized SUV, similar in size to the Subaru Forester model. It will be built on a platform shared with Toyota.
Wow, that's awesome. First half of 2020. Wait, that already happened. Wait, we must have missed it.
No, you didn't hear me properly.
What?
First half of the 2020s. So probably 2024, 2025.
Oh, that's a very It's a very creative way to say 2025.
Yeah.
Okay, so currently 2020, almost 2021.
Yep, it's always 2 years away.
Tomorrow, you'll get your electric cars tomorrow. It's only 2 years away.
This is what they think they're coming out with. It's the eVoltus, all-wheel drive, 280 horsepower, 300 miles of range, because of course, why not?
The eVoltus, or the we will never make this.
Right.
I think that Subaru should move their headquarters to Vermont, because that is I'm pretty sure it's the highest concentration of Subarus.
I think you're right.
In at least in the United States.
Yep. The most dogs per capita and the most Subarus per capita.
If they did that, I think that they would switch, they would change as a company. Just go with me here. I think that they would switch to EVs way faster.
And they would sign up Fish to be their band's.
It would work well for their brand. Let's just be real.
All right. That's our advice to you, Subaru.
So a lot of people have been writing in and asking, what happened to the Rivian R1T color? You remember the poll that we did?
Oh, the truck that we're going to get. Because we were going to get it in LA Silver. And then a lot of you said...
That's the most boring color.
That is the most boring color.
And it is.
It is boring, yeah. But you know what you should do? Head on over to the Clips channel, the Now You Know Clips channel, where Jam, who reads your comments, she gives an inside scoop on what's happening with the Rivian color selection. So go check it out and you'll find out what the color is going to be. All right, it's time for Going Green. So the Spokane, Washington City Council voted last week to approve spending up to $400,000 for the purchasing of 4 Tesla Model Ys as police cars for the Spokane Police Department.
Council President Brian Bragg says it's actually going to save us a lot of money. And when we get our fleet of vehicles all electric, it's going to be so much easier to maintain them and so much cheaper. And it's going to lead the way for our community.
So the council was going to buy 4 ICE cars, but a 2018 Washington law says this. RCW 43.19.648 requires state agencies and local governments to fuel publicly owned vehicles, vessels, and construction equipment with electricity or biofuels to the extent practicable. So when they were meeting, I'm sure some citizen got up and said, "What about the law?"
And they complied with it.
Yeah. Begg said that the council was also convinced to go electric by a study that recently came out saying that electric vehicles have twice the lifespan as gas vehicles. And Bragg said that the Model Ys will be ordered this month. So maybe someone in Washington saw our video where we went to the Westport, Connecticut Police Department and showed off their Model 3 police car and said, hey, you guys can do it too.
And another interesting thing here is that Brian Braggs won his seat by 7 votes.
Yeah.
7 votes. And what has happened? Electric police cars in that town.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people say, oh, your vote doesn't matter.
7 votes.
7 votes.
Yeah.
That's insane. 7 votes and 1 law. And look what you get.
Yeah. Get involved, people. All right, it's time for Into the Future.
Escape into the future.
So we spoke to 2 of the members of the Tyre Collective, Hansen and Deepak, and they are working on reducing tire particulates at the source. All right, so we're here today with Deepak and Hansen. They have a new startup that they have, which is called the Tyre Collective, and they're doing something pretty unique. Maybe you guys can explain to our viewers what you guys have figured out and what you're working on.
Yeah, so the Tyre Collective is a startup aimed to mitigate tire wear emissions. So tire wear emissions is every time your vehicle accelerates, brakes, or corner, little particles come off, and these particles are actually the second largest microplastic pollutant and a stealthy source of air pollution.
Okay, but I'll bet the amount of stuff coming off these tires is like minuscule, probably can't even measure it, so who cares?
Well, it's actually more than what people assume. So unlike tailpipe emissions, tire wear is completely invisible. So what we did was we tracked different vehicles over a period of 24 hours, and this is what the longest bus route in London produces in 24 hours, and that's 300 grams. And Transport for London has over 9,000 buses.
Where does this stuff go? I mean, you say it's invisible, so what does it look like, I guess, if I can't see it?
They kind of look like little black powdery particles. They are there. They're just kind of dispersed across, the roadways in London. About 2/3 of it is actually in the ground, and then about 1/3 of it becomes airborne. There's studies that indicate that it's a particulate emission, so PM2.5 or PM10 emission, which is harmful to human health at any concentration.
Yeah, we were also looking at recent research from Pew, where they say that tire wear is probably more prevalent than single-use plastics in microplastics in the oceans. So this is becoming a larger problem than people imagine.
So yeah, we found out that tire wear, when the particles wear off, they're charged from friction with the road. So we're able to use electrostatics and airflow to attract and capture these particles. And right now on our in-lab test rig, we capture about 60% of all airborne particles. And right now, as we're trying to develop this forward, trying to maximize this collection efficiency so we can collect more particles and therefore reducing its impact in our environment. Right now, as we're developing, we imagine a device to be attached to the steering knuckle of a vehicle, so it's able to move and turn. It's positioned in an area where it takes advantage of the various airflows around the spinning tire. From kind of our conversations with aerodynamic experts, they said it can actually reduce drag as well on vehicles. So there are potentially multiple benefits beyond kind of tire wear capturing for our technology.
That's interesting. So I guess you would partner with vehicle manufacturers to have these outfitted on the cars?
Yeah, so we're talking to vehicle manufacturers, tire manufacturers, and our long-term vision is to integrate this technology into new vehicles. So today there's about 95 million cars produced globally, and to really to integrate our device, and that can really make a difference.
Thank you so much, guys, for taking on and tackling this problem, because it is overwhelming, and I can see in the future that you guys are going to be successful. I mean, I want you guys to stick with it and check back in with us on progress, because I really want to let our viewers know how you guys are doing. So thank you so much, Tyre Collective, for the work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You can see our whole interview on our brand new channel called Disruptive Investing. The link will be in the show notes below.
All right, time for sunspots. So solar in Australia is driving coal out of business.
Okay, prove it.
I will prove it. The Blue Waters coal plant in Western Australia has been written off as worthless by the Japanese companies Sumitomo and Kansai, which bought it 9 years ago for $900 million. So Blue Waters coal plant was in debt for $370 million. They went to some banks and they said, hey, we need some money to keep going. And the bank said, we're not loaning you money because you're a coal plant. Simon Nicholas, an energy finance analyst at IEEFA, said, I think this is an absolutely classic example of what we're likely to see going forward across Australia and around the world. In Western Australia, the penetration of rooftop solar is huge, among the highest in the world. In Australia, the cost of utility-scale renewables is often lower than the cost of fuel for coal-fired power plants. So the long-term future for coal-fired power plants is looking fairly grim, and banks are responding to that. They don't want to finance coal anymore.
Wow. So I just want to hang on. The plant cost $900 million and they were $370 million in debt. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's like a grand total, if you look at it that way, of over $1 billion to have a working plant. It's not like it was haunted or something. It was a working coal plant, and yet they couldn't make any money.
Right.
Because solar is cheaper.
Yes.
And let's get some solar on your house.
Exactly.
Because you could put a coal plant out of business. And so that's why our friends at Energy Pal are ready to help you, because there are so many questions.
Yes.
Because you are suddenly becoming a power plant, although a very efficient one.
That's a great way to look at it. By getting solar on your roof, not only are you saving money and saving the planet, you're putting coal companies out of business.
So use our link below to head over to Energy Pal. Let them know that Zach and Jesse sent you, and they will answer your questions for free.
All right, it's time for our video contributor story. What do we got this week, Jess?
So remember 2 weeks ago, we heard from Greg, who went on that awesome cross-country road trip with his daughter on a Zero motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the ways that he was able to do it is his custom charger setup. Check this out.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the charging setup on my Zero. So the OEM charger is in the belly pan, but this is a custom charging setup put together by some folks in the Zero community. It's called a DigiNow setup. There's 3 kilowatt or 3.3 kilowatt chargers in that belly pan there, and they get wired up into the controller there. To feed those 3 chargers, I have 3 C 20, I guess, inlets there. With that, I can feed them through a that's a NEMA 1450 plug. I have the neutral pin cut off, so it'll work in a 1450 or a 1430. This is a 620. This is found in a lot of, pretty much all hotel air conditioners actually use that for 240 volt. You can get 3 kilowatt out of it. This is good for campgrounds. I also have J1772, as you would be familiar with on most EVs, and this is a Tesla plug. So obviously not superchargers, but I can use destination chargers. So these three come from the Tesla plug, and these three, there's a couple other C19s back there, they come from the J plug. So I can go in 3.3 kilowatt increments to feed the individual chargers, or I can go with these separate cords, and I have a number of other adapters as well. So that is my custom charging setup. You can even mix and match, so I could run the Tesla plug at 6 kilowatt and a J plug at 3 kilowatt, or vice versa. The NEMA 1450 is pushing a 50 amp a little bit, but it all works really well. The bike will actually charge about 90 minutes if the ambient temperature is right. If we can keep the battery cool and keep the chargers cool, from a full charge from 0 to 100, we can get to in about 90 minutes on this bike.
Whoa, that is some good old-fashioned American know-how.
Wait, so he can use different sources to charge at the same time?
He can charge at a Tesla plug.
Wow.
That's something that my Leaf can't do.
This guy rocks.
I mean, that's awesome. He went on such a great road trip. Hats off to you, man. That's fantastic.
All right, so it's time for our Patreon bonus stories. If you want to help support the show and get to see all of our bonus stories, head on over to patreon.com/nowyouknow. And for as little as $1 a month, you can see all the stories you'd like. And this week, we have a show that's blowing something up, which is always fun.
That is fun.
We are back from the Patreon bonus stories. We just solved a bunch of problems in the world. You can go check that out and find out how to do that.
Yeah, that was a long Patreon bonus story, but signing up for Patreon is actually kind of quick and easy.
Yeah.
So if you were nervous about it, just head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow, and you can sign up for as little as $1 a month and go check out an hour long Patreon bonus story that we just did.
It's good. We had a lot of stories.
A lot of stuff, a lot of interesting stuff to talk.
All right, who do we got for Patreon shout-outs this week?
We have Chris Phillips,
Javier Serrano,
Justin Vroon,
Randy,
in memory of KW,
Joseph Stark,
Damon Gage,
Jesse Chimney,
Michael Kayas,
Mike,
Joel Brodnick,
Melo Barnuevo,
Mark Moritz,
Arjun Bangalore,
Christopher Cordonley,
Dimitri Karamalis,
Michael,
and Richard Lucas.
Thank you so much for supporting this show. We can't do it without you.
It's time for Elon's tweets of the week. Let's see how busy he's been. Oh, you know what? He's been busy playing Cyberpunk 2077.
And he posted this. Basically, a lot of people are
not happy with the game.
Don't like the Cyberpunk 2077.
It was been worked on for like 8 years, and they hyped it. And I mean, he did tweet a bunch of times that he liked the game, but it just got a lot of bugs. So.
Yeah, this isn't a gaming channel, so we're going to move on.
I feel like he's been playing it all week, though.
I think so, because he didn't tweet as much.
Right. He's been busy playing. Austin said, "You maniacs, you blew it up."
He posted. That's good.
It is
That's good. That's a good Photoshop.
So that's Starship SN8 that blew up the other day, and that's, Planet of the Apes.
From Planet of the Apes.
Elon said, "Sure hope that future doesn't come to pass." And then the Babylon Bee said, "Elon Musk unveils plans to put a meme on the moon by 2022. Elon just laughed hysterically.
Yeah.
And then Business Insider tweeted that SpaceX is looking to double its valuation to $92 billion, and Elon said,
"That is incorrect." So, Business Insider getting it wrong as usual.
Tesla owner Silicon Valley said, "Hey, Elon, did your visit in 2008 to Aston Martin change what you did with Tesla?" Quote, "When Musk visited Aston Martin to see a tour of its factory, the CEO treated Elon like an amateur car builder."
And Elon said, "He was indeed quite grumpy, but we did not actually know what we were doing, so he had a point." So,
and I mean, to this day, Aston Martin's really not electrifying, so probably still thinks Elon doesn't know what he's talking about.
Hard to make that argument today as opposed to 2008.
And then Elon said, very impressive mission by China. He's talking about China's mission, the China Chang'e 5 lunar mission, which went to the moon, gathered up 2 kilograms of drilled and scooped samples, and brought them back safely to Earth for study. So way to go, China. And that was smart of Elon.
More moon rocks.
Yes.
On planet Earth. Bringing them back, one rock at a time.
Then Tesla Mania said, now that Model Y is being pumped out of Giga Shanghai, will you be coming to Shanghai for another dance on January 7th, 2021? Show us your new moves and your vibe.
And Elon said, I'm hoping to be back next month.
Hey, now, question about the moon. As you bring more of the moon to Earth, do we change the tides?
Yes. But only a
Fractionally.
little bit. But you got to keep in mind, we also left some stuff up on the moon.
Oh, we left a lander and stuff.
Yeah, we got to
keep it even.
Got to work on the balance sheet there.
All right, so we had 2 Patreon polls last week. What was the first one?
The first one was, why is Tesla pausing S&X production?
Oh, our viewers are usually right. So what was it?
It was a refresh. They're retooling the lines for the 2021 S&X. So
That was overwhelmingly it. So I think
it could
got
be
an answer.
One of the things that we didn't put on the poll was that it was for after Christmas, letting everyone settle and figure out who has COVID and who doesn't. Which I think I only saw after we posted the poll. It's not too outside of the realm. The next one was, do you think that SN9 will land successfully?
All right, this is the one that tipped a little bit and is being fixed right now.
Yes. And so they said that SN9 is going to fly and that it's going to land on the pad, or at very least not explode.
I hope they're right.
So, well, that still remains to be seen. We're going to have to find out.
All right, it's time for Community Mail Time.
Community mail time.
So last week, Christopher showed us the Australian Post's e-trike, and now Katie has some more info for us. And that's what I love about our community. Thank you for updating us, Katie. It holds 7 times more than the ICE version did. And Sean and Maggie are showing off their short shorts. I would like some, but they are sold out from Tesla.
Don't worry, you can get sexy short shorts. We'll put the link down below to EcoWear, where you can get yourself some sexy short shorts.
And Daniel heard our call for a scaled photo of China's #1 selling EV, the Wuling Honggang Mini EV. Here he is standing next to it for comparison. Now he's 5'11", or 1.8 meters. And as you can see, there's the frunk, there's the dashboard, and there's other cars for comparison. And Daniel said the Mini EV is very spacious inside. Yes, it has a minute battery and motor power, but it is highway rated, though it doesn't have airbags or ABS, so I wouldn't drive it on the highway. But it has loads of headroom. It's basically the height of a compact SUV, but about half the length. The back seat in the 4-seat version is right against the back hatch window, so there's virtually no trunk. But again, inside is big enough to seat 4 adults.
Wow, it's bigger than I thought it was. I mean, and that's saying something, because I thought it was tiny.
Yeah, and Daniel knows what he's talking about because he runs an electric car company called Overton Motors in China. So hopefully we'll be hearing more from him. He knows a lot about the Chinese car market.
And our buddy Phil just got his Model S long range.
Congratulations.
Beautiful blue.
All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews, and these are sponsored by our friends at Evannex, the Tesla community's accessory store. If you're looking for awesome accessories for your Tesla, then check out Evannex and use the discount code nowyouknow to save you $10 on purchases over $100. And don't forget to upload your reviews to the Now You Know channel Supercharger review page. All right, so let's check them out.
I'm at the relatively new V3 Supercharger in Paso Robles, California, located on Highway 46 in the Golden Hills Plaza Shopping Center. It's 1.5 miles east of Highway 101, and we have 28 stalls. Oh yeah. There are a few different options for food and restroom. We have Subway, Starbucks, and Sonic a short walk away. Behind the tree is where the Subway is located, next to UPS store. And next door we have Starbucks. I give this an 8 out of 10. Now you know.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. I'm John, and I'm at the Fort William, Scotland in the Highlands. 6-stall, 150 kilowatt supercharger location. The amenities here are really good. We got railway station, bus stop, we got restaurants, McDonald's, everything here you want, you know, so really good. I'll give this 9 out of 10. Now you know.
We're here in Graysonville, Maryland, and we're at a Tesla supercharger, and there's 12 stalls, and it's by Royal Farms gas station, which has some food and some convenience store items and some restrooms. And it's right before the Kennett Bridge to get over to Kent Island, and then across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge back to the mainland towards Annapolis. So we're headed home towards that way, but this is pretty nice that you can charge up on the island if you're coming to visit Kent Island, which is really cool. These are all the superchargers. They have a lot of them, and it's really nice. There was only one other person that was here. They just left. And they have a restaurant over here, and a gas station over here, and friendly dogs over there. They're cute.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. This is Bennett at the Jacksonville West Supercharger here in Florida. There are 8 250 kilowatt stalls, a grocery store, and a short walk to a barber shop, and a series of restaurants. Since everything closes right around 10 o'clock, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, but it would have gotten a 10 if they were open 24 hours. Now you know.
Man, love supercharger reviews.
Nothing better.
The good news is there are more superchargers in the world.
We're never going to run out.
Be reviewed.
Yes.
So let's find out which ones came online this week.
We got the 8-stall version 3 in Riverhead, New York.
We got the 8-stall version 3 in Montauk, New York.
We got the 8-stall 150 kilowatt in Seattle at Northwest Ballard Way in Washington.
We have the 8-stall version 3 in Petersburg at Wagner Road, Virginia.
The 8-stall version 3 in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania.
Number 43 in Sweden is the 6-stall version 3 in Jokkmokk, Sweden.
The 8-stall version 3 in Clarksburg, New Jersey.
We have the 20-stall version 3 in Vestby, Norway.
The 8-stall version 3 in Crawley, UK.
We have the 18-stall version 3 in Meerkerk, Netherlands.
We have the 12-stall version 3 in Greenfield, California.
We have the 8-stall version 3 in Arese, Italy.
Number 70 in Norway. Number 70. Wow. The 12-stall version 3 in Nottenden, Norway.
The 8-stall version 3 in Malibu, California.
Number 2080 in the world is the 12-stall version 3 in Ertharting, Germany.
That was a lot of superchargers this week.
That's what I like to hear.
Moly.
I wish we were like that every week.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for the Patreon giveaway. And don't forget to get in this big bucket of fun. Just become a Patreon supporter. The more you support us, the more times we put you in the barrel. Oh, you going for a 45 now?
Yep.
All right, so what are we winning this week? Let's see. Oh, we got a Rick and Morty poster. All right, who's our winner?
The winner is Ken Malinkowitz.
Congratulations, Ken. Give me that pen over there.
Putting you back in the barrel of fun.
We're going to sign this for you.
And you made it to the end of the show, which, congratulations. Hit the like button at the end of the show.
Well, no, hit it earlier.
Hit it earlier if you can.
Go back in time and hit it earlier. You know why? No, you know why though? That helps the algorithm. I think that like when you hit it earlier in the show, then the algorithm's like, oh, they really like it.
Which doesn't make a lick of sense because if you like a video at the end,
that really is telling you something.
Then it's really telling you that like you watched the whole thing and you enjoyed it.
Can you hand me the popcorn? I've been looking at it the whole time.
I've been, yeah.
And I think we deserve it.
Yes,
so.
we deserve it. You deserve a treat too.
I know you.
Go drink some water.
Hopefully you've been having some popcorn during this. Did you know that it's really more enjoyable to watch the show while you're eating a snack?
Because it's so long and you're going to be hungry by the end of it. Go have some water. Go drink a glass of water. Go get a glass. Fill it completely with water and then drink it. Drink it halfway,
or
take a minute and then drink the rest, or just drink it in the next. Drink some water.
Yeah, hydrate yourself,
and also like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week, as we always do and have done for
forever.
5 years. Every single week we have done a Tesla Time News.
4 years.
4 years
plus.
4 years plus.
Yeah, over 1,000 episodes.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep eating. You can continue to watch all of these lovely Patreon patrons roll by.
No.
I can't see them.
You can't?
No.
I can see them. Wow. This is good.
Now you know.